Hello everyone, DG90's here, and welcome to another retrospective. This time, it's about a certain anthropomorphic animal from the Australian outbacks that actually arose during the time when the PlayStation 2 and other 6th-gen consoles were commercially relevant. And that character would be Ty the Tasmanian tiger. Originally, when I was writing the script for this video back in early 2017, it was Ty's 15th anniversary, but since this video is released in 2018, we'll make it as his 16th anniversary. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences with the franchise and its games, along with talking about a possibility of a TV show and movie out of this franchise. I'm going to be honest here that this franchise is sort of a hybrid between my childhood and teenagerhood. You'll see what I mean once I actually explain. I first heard of Ty the Tasmanian tiger somewhere around 2003 or 2004. At that time, I actually went to some friend's house, and no, this isn't the same friend that actually introduced me to Godzilla. It's actually a different group of friends. They had the original Xbox, and other than playing on their computer, I actually played their original Xbox console. The games that they have that I can remember from the top of my head are SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, Shrek 2, the first Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, Blinks the Time Sweeper, and the Xbox Exposition Demo Disc Volume 1, which contained demos like the first Halo, Time Splitters 2, Toe Jam Earl 3, and Whacked. I had fun playing this game until I was stuck on the shipwrecks level because I was being paranoid when I was seeing the sharks, and because of that, I prevent myself from advancing further to the level. Yeah, let's say back then, I had this tendency to be scared of creatures like bears in a video game, especially hunting games, because I was a little kid and I was easily into the game's atmosphere. And I was a very dumb kid to where I didn't even look online what to do next. Sometime later, for whatever odd reason, they no longer have the game along with Blinks and the Xbox demo disc. Instead, the only two games that they had was SpongeBob and Shrek. So, after that day, I just forgot about the franchise until years later when I actually found it on YouTube. So after looking at this commercial that I never saw as a kid, I asked my dad to take me to GameStop to get the game. Also, at the time, I thought Ty the Tasmanian Tiger was an Xbox exclusive, sort of like with Rainbow Six Lockdown, but nope. I found out that there is actually a PS2 and a GameCube port. So, after buying the PS2 version as a teenager, I managed to beat the shipwrecks level and the other levels that I never saw as a kid, including the boss ones. The levels that I like the most are 2-Up, Walk in the Park, Shipwrecks, Bridge on the River Ty, Outback Safari, Liar Liar Pants on Fire, and Cass's Crest. And the levels I don't really like that much are Snow Worries, Beyond the Black Stump, and Rex Marks the Spot. Snow Worries and Beyond the Black Stump are snow-themed levels, and I'll be honest, they are not that fun to play. And Rex Marks the Spot feels like an extended version of Shipwrecks, and it doesn't feel that special to me. It just doesn't. About the missions in each level that will reward you with a Thunder Egg once you complete them, some of them are alright, while some others are really a pain to get and they're not that fun. Like, for example, a mission that I think is alright is the one where you have to get a flock of bats outside of a cave before some flood comes in. And the one that I think is stupid is the one in Rex Marks the Spot level where you have to jump on continuous platforms, and there is one that is barely makeable, and I'm not really kidding. The boss fights in this game range from good to just okay. The ones that I thought are good are the final boss, Bosscast's Robot, and Craigie the Shark. The ones that I thought are okay are the Fluffy Yeti Robot, and the bull that you'll later ride in the Outback Safari level. The only sub-boss level that I think is passable is the Sly the Tasmanian Tiger fight in the Liar Liar Pants on Fire level. By the way, this is the only installment of the entire franchise that actually had a commercial promoting the game. In my opinion, it's a cool commercial, but it's mean-spirited.
there's a new hero out there, and he's not gonna let anyone stand in his way. Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Rated E for everyone. EA Games.
Challenge everything.
Overall, I like the first game. I did like how it came out the same year as Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, and some of the aspects of the first game are alright to say the least. As a teenager, when I was researching up this game, I did not know it actually had two sequels, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue and Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 3 Night of the Quinkin. Let's start with Ty 2 Bush Rescue. The plot of this game with Ty and his friends stopping Boss Kaz once again after he escaped prison, it isn't a perfect plot per se, but I actually still like it nevertheless. Now, what I do like about this game is that this game and Sly 2 are a bit more open world compared to their last installments, and both of these games actually have their own missions. However, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 has some side quests that are optional to complete, unlike Sly 2's quests. There are some missions in this game I like, while there are some I don't like. For examples of missions I like, there are some missions where you had to use the thermal bunyip to complete, and the last mission of the game where you have to be using the Shadow Bunyip to defeat Boss Kaz and his army. For missions I don't like, I really don't like those helicopter and sub-bunyip missions. They're really boring and tedious to play. And as much as the Lictor Bunyip looks cool, the thing is slow as molasses, and the missions here are just really dull to say the least. I did like the boss fights in this game, way more than the ones in the first game because they step it up here a bit. The bosses in this game I like are Fluffy, Buster the Nanorobot, Patchy the Ankylosaurus Cyber Dino, and Boss Kaz. The only boss fight I didn't really like as much is the one where Ty fights Fluffy for the first time in the beginning of the game. Oh yeah, there is one aspect of the first game I forgot to talk about, and that would be the boomerangs, so I will talk about them here. Anyways, I really did like the boomerangs that appeared in the first game and the second game, like the Kaboomerang, the Frosty Rang, the Multi-Rang, and many more. And to be honest, there are no rangs in this game I really don't have a gripe with. About the segments with you using Shaz's van to drive to other parts of the road to complete missions, they're alright, but there will be times where you'll hit into muddy roads that can slow your progress, and it's bothersome. About the two-player kart racing mode, I'm okay with it, but I don't really bother playing it that much. But I will admit that I would prefer playing this and the other Mario Kart style racing games over the realistic racing games any day. Overall, I love Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 and Bush Rescue, and for the first sequel, it's better than the first game. I will replay this game anytime in the future whenever I want to. Moving on to Ty 3 Night of the Quinkin, and I have mixed opinions about this game. The storyline for this game is one of those dark, edgy, and angsty storylines compared to the previous games, but I'm okay with it here because it just doesn't bother me that much. The combat system in this game isn't perfect, but I actually like it because it reminds me somewhat of the combat system in Sly 2 and Sly 3. I like all the rangs in this game, and unlike the last game, you can customize them to have different effects using stones like the Fire Stone for fire damage, Water Stone for ice damage, Air Stone for electric damage, Earth Stones for explosive damage, etc. The only rank that you can't customize is the Shadow rank. For the boss fights of this game, there's only about 4, and I only like 2 of them while the other 2 are just not that great. The 2 boss fights I liked are the Hexaquin and the Queen King, while the other 2 I despise are the Dragon Queen and Fluffy's Meg Suit. For the missions of this game, I like the Shadow Bunyip and the Thermal Bunyip missions. I thought they were pretty fun to do. However, I didn't really like the kart missions in this game, which, unlike the last game, they're mandatory here. They're hard as hell, and hard as they aren't really fun at all. And I'm not really kidding. I don't even like the Gunyan missions. They're awful as shit. They're even worse than the helicopter missions in Ty 2. The missions you have to do with Carlos, I thought they were actually fun. Especially the one where you have to combat multiple enemies without using any bunyips. Overall, I thought Ty 3 was alright. If they didn't have so much bullshit added into the game could have been decent at least. Now moving on to the 4th game of the series, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 4. or just Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2013. To be honest, this is the only Ty game I have never played. For one, the game is not for the PlayStation 2, the original Xbox, or GameCube. Instead, it's just Windows only. Originally, I wanted to stay away from this game mainly because it was a 2D platformer. Now, hear me out on this one. I don't hate 2D platformers. I actually like them as much as 3D platformers. If I didn't like the 2D platformers, then I wouldn't even come to like Mario and Sonic's 2D platforming games. It's just that I'm not really used to see Ty in a 2D perspective. True that the GBA ports of Ty 2 and Ty 3 are 2D as well, but that was before I seen the gameplay of those ports of the games. I don't know, but I felt like Ty going to 2D was just weird back-ass logic, because his previous trilogy was actually in 3D, and I always been wondering why Krome would do that instead of having the fourth game be in 3D. But, aside from what I said, nowadays, I'm okay with Ty being in 2D for this installment. The only aspect of the game I can talk about, and that would be the story, and I think it's okay. I will admit that it was cool, but dark for boss Kaz wanting to wipe out all mammals by using his own and Julius's technology to call in an asteroid to cause another dinosaur-level extinction to allow reptiles to retake the world. But since that failed, he decided to freeze the entire island, because that way, a millennium from the current time period they're in, Kaz would be able to continue his schemes without Ty and the others stopping him. I saw that Sly and Fluffy were androids, so that was sure something. Anyways, another thing that surprised me that this game actually had multiple characters you can play as, despite the gameplay would remain the same. Which, it would have been awesome if they would have done that earlier with Ty 2 and Ty 3, but whatever. One of these days, I will try to play the game on PC and give it a review on its own. Alright, another topic I would like to talk about is the possibility of a Ty the Tasmanian Tiger TV series in a movie. I'm going to get this out of the way that at one point there was supposed to be a TV series when Ty 2 came out. The only article I can find that can confirm this was an old IGN article all the way back in 2004. Krome Studios and Film Roman were partnered to create the series, but the sad truth is that it was never released. Yeah, not one single episode of this supposed TV show was aired on television. And you might be wondering, why is that? Well, as far as I know, no official reason from Krome Studios was given, so I actually have one theory of this. I do believe that they were working on this TV show, but it was in development hell for a while. But complications between the staff and possibly complications from the Film Roman studio set this project back and forth until it probably got to the point where the project might have got cancelled and the partnership with Film Roman was ended. Again, this is my own theory, but it could be a possible one. Anyways, I still think that Ty should get his own TV series. Hell, since my other favorite video game franchise will get his own, I don't see why Krome Studios can't do the same. Whenever the TV series gets announced and released onto television, here are a few things I would like to see. Number 1, I would like the show's demographic to be kids and older audiences. Number 2, I would like the show to be lighthearted like the games, but I would like to see some dark moments too. Not too dark like blood or anything, since Ty was mostly a kid-friendly game. And number 3, I would like to see character development with Ty, Sly, Shazza, and other characters, especially the villains having some sort of development. The rest are up to Krome. I just hope the show just doesn't suffer from bad jokes and some other shit like that, unlike 2 certain shows from Cartoon Network. So, again, I do hope that Krome Studios will help to work on a Ty TV series, and I hope it does succeed whenever it gets announced and released. Now onto the idea of a Ty movie. As of right now, by this video's release, there is no announcement of a Ty the Tasmanian Tiger movie. For ideas of the movie, the only idea I could think the top of my head is the movie story, and I only have 2 ideas of this. It could either be a reimagining of the first game, like that of the Ratchet & Clank and the Sly Cooper movie, despite that film hasn't been released yet, or it could have an original storyline. Now, this original storyline can be anything, like Ty has to go be Boss Kez for some new scheme he planned to conquer all of Southern Rivers. But I think Krome would rather go for the reimagining idea, because that way the newcomers would be introduced to the series. The changes to this reimagining is up to Krome themselves, but the only change I would love to see is Ty's backstory being a bit more developed. Like, what was his life like before being raised by the Billibees when his parents got trapped into the Dreamtime by Bozkaz's actions? One last thing to talk about the movie is that if the movie gets announced, made, and released into theaters, I wonder who's going to publish it. For me, here's my list of possible publishers: 20th Century Fox, DreamWorks, Disney, Lionsgate, Warner Bros., Universal, Paramount, the Weinstein Company, and MGM. With all the choices I have here, I feel like Lionsgate, Warner Bros., Universal, Paramount, the Weinstein Company, and MGM are the more plausible options, because the other three companies don't really own this franchise, and to be honest, they might not be that interested with Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Maybe, just maybe, there could be some compromising deal with one of these companies, but I have my own doubts. Now that concludes my retrospective on the Ty the Tasmanian Tiger franchise. Like Sly Cooper and Godzilla, I'm always looking forward for a new release from Krome Studios. And yes, I am aware that Krome has been re-releasing the original trilogy onto Steam for the newcomers and the old fans to enjoy. Now, you might be asking me, why did I do a few Sly Cooper comparisons to Ty games? Well, despite the two franchises having major differences, they do seem to have similarities with each other. Like, for one, all four of their games are released in the same year. Second, they do seem to use the same main antagonist in the first two games, but use a different main antagonist by their third game. For their first game, they seem to have similar gameplay to already established platformers. Like, for Sly Cooper, it has elements from the classic Crash Bandicoot games. And for Ty, it seemed to have similarities with Spyro and Mario 64, with the hub world, and exploring that level by going through the portal from that said hub world. But by their sequels, their platforming gameplay changed to a bit more open world, and they no longer support the life system. Another comparison to Ty the Tasmanian Tiger and Sly Cooper is that they seem to both lost their parents during childhood, and when they both became adults, they started their goals and eventually overcoming them. The only difference for them is that Ty's goal was to free his parents and other Tasmanian tigers from the Dreamtime by finding all the 5 talismans that were spread around Australia, while Sly's goal was to get all of the pages of the Thievius Raccoonus from the Phoenix 5. So, I want to ask you guys who are fans of this franchise, when did you first came across this franchise? What are your opinions on the games? Would you look forward to a TV show and movie of this franchise? And what is your favorite character of this franchise? Let me know in the comments below. My next retrospective is going to be the Call of Duty franchise. Anyways, this is DG90's signing out, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace!